In this video, we'll take a look at some Tyleik Williams film from the Lions' preseason visit to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Williams, Detroit's first-round pick, got on the field plenty in the first half when Detroit's defense was really dominating. 6 stops on the first 6 possessions before Easton Stick was able to take the Falcons' offense down the field in a 2-minute drill and score to take a 10-7 halftime lead. Williams, I think, will be able to evaluate it, and you'll see some markers in this film study that he'll have an impact against the run, especially at the point of attack. There are pass rush opportunities here, 3 separate third downs, and then a 4th and 3, in fact, where Williams is able to get less done. He gets more accomplished on run plays, clearly, at least in this video that I'm going to present to you. I think he's responsible with his rushes in pass pro, meaning he holds his ground to build the pocket on 4-man rush schemes. He's not trying to open up a lane for the quarterback. In the next couple of preseason games, I would like to see him be kind of let loose a little bit more on pass rush moves. He's not known as really a pass rush specialist in college. He did have 11.5 career sacks in 4 years at Ohio State, but 5 of those came in his freshman year. I think his immediate skill set right now is someone who helps in the run game, especially with how thin the interior D-line looks with no Aleem McNeil right now. The Lions needed a talent infusion there on the defensive line at D-tackle and defensive end. I think Williams brings that. He's smart, very strong, great recognition in my opinion. He's seen it all, and he recognizes things pre-snap and during the play. His feet are exceptionally quick, especially his first 2 steps. He gets his cleats in the ground, oftentimes quicker than the offensive guard or tackle that's dealing with him. He holds his ground against the run. If you ask me, I think he was given the right guard trouble for the Falcons. It seemed like Williams, had a little bit more difficulty dealing with the left guard. I think it was number 71. In terms of the run game, what Atlanta was able to produce while he was on the field was nothing. First half stats, I think Atlanta had either 4 or 5 rushing yards total on like 7 carries. For the game before it was suspended, 22 yards produced on the ground overall. I think Williams has the most impact for Detroit there against the run right now. So let's get this started with the first play of the game, and Williams will be spot shadowed, generally just going to use the end zone angle. This is going to be a tackle by Zach Cunningham and Trevor Nowaski. It's 3-4 personnel, but it's their 4-3 look out of it. Most teams do this that are 3-4. They'll take the linebacker, outside linebacker, to the boundary and kind of walk him back and turn the boundary side defensive tackle into a DN playing from a wider 5 technique. Williams immediately engages 68, and then one thing you notice is as he's moving laterally, he doesn't get displaced vertically at all. He really kind of reminds me of DJ Reader here in some of his reactions and the way that he's able to hold up at the point of attack and really clear things up for inside linebackers. In this case, it's Cunningham as the Mike, and then Nowaski playing the Will from the boundary, able to converge. Both get credit for the tackle. No gain on the 1st and 10. Great hand placement by Williams. Great ability to stay engaged with the blocker, move his feet laterally. Occasionally in this film study, I'd like to say that I'd want his pad level a little bit lower, particularly on pass plays. But if you ask me, that's a great example of how to play it when the guard steps to you and then the interior center is trying to push you horizontally to get some kind of horizontal or vertical displacement for the running back to make a cut. We've missed a play. The ensuing play is an 8-yard completion, so I think we're on to a 2nd and 2. This is still first possession. I'll talk about the 2 arrows there, the 2 orange arrows. It's basically corners over, or what some people would call cowboy. Really poor all 22 angle film in this game. It bounced around a ton. Williams is spot shadowed there. I mean, you can kind of see it. He doesn't really get much done here. His hand placement, I'm giving you the all 22 angle because you can see his hand placement is on the inside, and he kind of dislodges that left guard stepping to him. Guard is able to latch on. Really nothing able to develop after that. Muhammad is getting the sack against the left tackle here. It's a play-action concept. Muhammad is a little inefficient with his move after he recognizes it as a play-action. He's going to try to get around the left tackle. But this is the same play from the end zone angle. Really, this is 2nd and 2. And Williams getting hands to the inside. And then I think he's just checking to confirm whether it's a run or not. But I think right around now he recognizes that it's a pass. Either can't do anything to disengage or he's just staying patient and disciplined. Let's talk about the look that the Lions use here. It's very similar to a look they've used against 12 personnel formations in the last couple of years. So corners over. It means they can put both corners on the same side. Why do they feel comfortable doing that? Two reasons. Number one, Rock Ya-Sin is playing safety in this example, so he is a guy with corner in his background, so he feels comfortable into the boundary. And you've got two tight ends over here. He'll deal with one of them, probably the outside guy. Additional to that, Cunningham, the inside linebacker, is kicked over the inside tight end. Let me give you the end zone angle so you can see what I'm talking about. We're talking about Cunningham here, and then Ya-Sin here. So what that has allowed Kelvin Sheppard to do is, I call it cowboy, both corners on the same side, both outside corners, maintain the option to play man-to-man over there, and maybe even lock up man with Cunningham and Ya-Sin over here. It happens to work out within the context of this play. It's really only a two-man route tree, and then the possibility of the running back either going out in the flats off the play action or maybe trying to bring this into the open space against the inside linebacker. So Max Pro with three receivers going out into the route, two receivers, and then the running back. In this case, Muhammad turns it into a sack. I thought for a moment that I had this down and distance messed up. I've got it as a 3rd and 4. It's a little difficult when you only have the end zone angle. That's all I grabbed for Williams here. But you can see him spot shadow. He's in a 3 technique, and I love this play. They're going to combo or basically double Williams and the other defensive tackle. I love how he plays this. Now, I get it. There's going to be some who say, oh, it's defensive holding. I don't care about defensive holding. Never did care about it, number one, because the way I look at it is those offensive linemen are oftentimes grabbing. Maybe they're not holding on every single play. In fact, you can see some examples of it right here. Both of these guys have got their hands on and they're latching onto jersey in some regard, some form or fashion. Yes, Williams has grabbed the left shoulder of this guard and he's pulled it down. He's pulled it down such that that's allowing the inside linebacker to fit over the top. I think it's a really good play. And the reason why is because it shows awareness that, okay, I'm getting comboed or doubled. I can't get taken back, walked back into the inside linebacker, number one. I can't get vertically displaced. And I've got to give the inside linebacker a chance to make the play. And that's exactly what happens. I have this down as a 3rd and 4 and a gain of 1. It was a brutal stop during the game. I thought Zach Cunningham looked tremendous to me. Very active, quick, especially his responses in pass coverage, particularly from zone delineations. This is the very next play. It's a 4th and 3. Williams is over here against the left guard. This is one of the situations in pass rush where I think he recognizes something pre-snap, and that's why he's kind of changing his alignment and maybe deciding to go to a different move, and then he just stops. So the hands just aren't as violent with Williams as you get here with 90 in terms of any kind of slap or rip. Those things don't seem to show up as quickly as they do for some of the other interior defensive linemen that I get the chance to watch. It really helps me try to break down the game when I get to watch Lions film, Ravens film, and Seahawks film. I think it makes me better at recognizing certain things and having a more balanced perspective on what players are able to do on any individual snap. And so for me, the reason why I bring all of that up is because as it relates to Williams, he's exceptionally quick with his feet. He's very technical. He knows his role. And I think as a defense against the run, you want guys like Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, and Derek Barnes. You want them making most of the tackles. Williams has the skills and awareness to ensure that happens. If you combine him with DJ Reader right now, Aleem McNeil won't be available for a while. If you have those two on the field together at defensive tackle, Reader's an exceptional run stopper. Maybe he's not as elite as he was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, but that to me is the formula for being very good against the run. And again, they shut down Atlanta's run game against backups, mind you. They shut that down in the first half on Friday night. I think that's the formula that Kelvin Sheppard and Dan Campbell want. Stop the run first and foremost, and then make teams one-dimensional, and then we'll deal with everything after that. We're on to the second possession here. Again, a 3 technique, a little bit wider. It's a 1st and 10. Really late start by the right guard. I mean, the center and the left guard are out of their stance, and he is still not out of his at all. So I don't know what's happening there. In fact, Williams after the play thinks it may have been a false start, but he's able to just out athlete this guy and get some penetration, cause the running back to have to bring this back against the grain. Basically, you get the running back off of his path on this play. And then from the backside, I think this is Keith Cooper, 64, if I have it right, who was able to make the tackle. Not exactly sure what Stewart reaction is here, stepping back like this. He must believe that it's play action. In fact, Cunningham hasn't committed either. But fortunately, Williams got some penetration on the play. Doesn't get credit for the tackle, but he really influenced the running back to run back towards Cooper, making pursuit from the backside. 2nd and 17 is a really nice read by Rock Ya-Sin here. It's after a penalty on the Falcons. Williams is, again, over here adjusting pre-snap against the left guard. I do think there's some times where, for whatever reason, he's adjusting and almost not ready at the snap. You'll see a better illustration of that a little bit later on. This one looks more committed in terms of what he's trying to get done because it's a stunt. So he's trying to take the left guard with him into the left tackle such that Nate Lynn can fold underneath. And in this case, it's a little unfortunate from a Lions perspective because the center is stepping to them. So the center can easily pick up Lynn while the guard and the tackle stay on Tyleik Williams. Sometimes you get the center stepping to you guys in a 4-man rush technique, and sometimes they step away, depending on the quarterback/center's call. In this case, that particular pass pro with the center stepping to Williams' side works out perfectly from a Falcons perspective. Maybe you'd like to see Tyleik Williams rip a little bit more with the inside arm to carry that left guard with him in a more definitive fashion. Ensuing play, this is a 3rd and 3. I think the Lions drop out in zone here. So you do have Stewart into the boundary, Cunningham as the Mike, and then Avonte Maddox as the nickel. I really think Avonte Maddox has got an opportunity to get on the field for this Lions team some. It looks to me like they're inserting into a cover 3. So basically dropping the safety down from his depth. I think it's Rock Ya-Sin, and for whatever reason, Rock just, something's not right. Either Cunningham is supposed to kick over to this hash, and then Rock is supposed to drop down to the left hash, the high hash for us, or the reverse of that. Cunningham is supposed to drop here, and Rock is supposed to drop over to the far hash. That's a little more rare in terms of its application. You don't see it as much. You'll oftentimes see that when there's 3 receivers to one side. So let me let it play through a couple of times. I probably annotated too much. My apologies for that. The point is, I think it's a cover 3 where you've got 2 guys smushed up against each other, and in this case, Williams isn't getting much done from a pass rush standpoint. Number 1, number 2, the quarterback is forced to throw it underneath of the zone. It's actually kind of helpful when you do get a crossover one of 2 ways: either the inside linebacker pushing to the hook to curl on the opposite side, and the boundary side safety dropping to the boundary side hash, or you do it the other way. The boundary side safety pushing to the field side hash. It's obviously further to get there. It's a little bit more fun to see quarterbacks' reaction. You'll oftentimes see that where quarterbacks kind of pump fake because they're not sure what the boundary side safety is doing. They think he's vacated an area. It's a really nice little coverage variation, if you ask me. That's not what's really occurring here. I think one of these 2 guys just messed it up. Williams didn't get very much penetration in pass rush situations. I think that's quite obvious. That's why I kind of gave that evaluation during my lead into this video. Here, I think he's getting a call from Cunningham, and it's another situation where he kind of drops down and is almost really not ready at the snap. I think he's calling for this defensive tackle to come over, and when we get to the end zone angle, I'll kind of explain to you what I mean. Avonte Maddox is the targeted guy on a 3rd and long. I believe it's a 3rd and 11, completion to Drummond for like 7 or 8 yards. Another stunt from Williams, and he's tagged up with Lynn. So Williams is going upfield, and then Lynn, the defensive end, initially jabbed upfield, and then he's going to try to go underneath. It's unsuccessful in this application as well because the guard tackle handled it together beautifully. End zone angle of the same play. Here's Cunningham walking up. Seems like he's making a call or some type of communication to Williams. I think Williams is trying to communicate to this defensive tackle to hedge over and then occupy this center. I think Williams and Lynn are going to run a stunt, and Williams, knows that they want to get this center out of the equation. That's my suspicion about what he was waving over or trying to communicate to someone to the other side of the formation. Just during that time period where the Lions defense is just nearly pitching a shutout were it not for the turnover that gave Atlanta the ball, I think on their 41 or something like that, that resulted in a field goal. They really would have had a shutout up to that 2-minute drive that Stick was able to coordinate in the final minute and 40 or minute 50. 2nd and 7, I think you're going to get a double team combo on Williams here. It's basically a read option, if you will. There's the running back's path with the yellow line. Stick is going to read Muhammad, who's the boundary side D end here, and then Williams is essentially going to get double teamed by the right guard and right tackle. I do think that Williams' step, his horizontal step, is so quick that he almost fronts and gets even with the guard, and that's kind of why the right tackle ends up with his hand on the right guard's back, because the right guard was almost beaten in terms of steps here. You can see that Williams has engaged him while 68's foot is still in the air. There's absolutely no ability to move Williams unless he's trying to move back towards the football, and it's a cool concept. The tight end is widening up, and that's going to draw Stewart, the will linebacker, with him. Muhammad is the read man. Clearly should be a give read, and it is. It ends up being a 5-yard gain on the play. I think Muhammad played really well. You guys feel free to let me know what other people have had to say about him, what maybe Dan Campbell said in interviews or press conferences. I thought Muhammad looks quick, athletic. He certainly got a sack, and I thought there was another pass rush situation in there where he nearly got to the quarterback. The ensuing 3rd and 2, I think we're into the 4th, perhaps the 5th possession here. A little bit more of a strike by Williams. Nate Lynn almost slaps the ball out of the quarterback's hands. He really gets a nice little, I'm talking about Lynn over here, gets a nice little redirect or ability to reorient by knocking the left tackle's left hand up. And then he just continues to work. You can see he's circling with his hands. Lynn almost gets to the quarterback and gets that ball out of there on the delivery. This is the one that Whiteside almost intercepted. Awareness by Williams to try to get his hand up in the passing lane. You never know if some of these defensive tackles are given a hard stop line by the coaches, in particular 4-man rushes, such that they don't give the quarterback an easy lane to step up and escape the pocket. I don't think Williams was credited with a tackle in the game. Not to my memory, certain didn't show you one here. But we got a good look at how he handles double teams, some of the lateral movement while striking with his hands. Got really good feet in terms of responding and reacting to run plays. Aware, I would say that on some of the pass rush situations, I'd like to see him in a stance. Stay in the stance and get your ass ready to rock and roll. Maybe a more decisive, clean attempt at a move to get some vertical push on that offensive guard. He looks really good against the run, like he can impact the game as a run defender early. Maybe some more disciplined rushes against the pass would be what I would call for, what I would ask for. Maybe give him a side on a particular 3rd down call. Give him a B gap side. Hey, we want you to win in the B gap. Or an A gap side. We want you to line up in a 3, and we want your best inside move. We want you to win there attacking on, I'm talking about on a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, maybe a 3rd and 11. See what he can get done. The coaches are obviously seeing it on film in practice every day. As a fan, selfishly, I'd like to see what he can produce. Is he going to give you a Lean McNeil style or quality rushes right now as a rookie? No, I would not expect that. I would expect him to improve and be more decisive and clear as the year goes on. But you got a very strong, quick, smart player who's athletic, especially when dealing with double teams. I think he understands what is his play to make. And also he understands when, okay, I'm not going to get the tackle here, but it's my job to give my tandem, the inside linebacker stacked behind me to my side, a really good chance to make the play. I loved the hold. I know that some of you watching this will say I don't, because of the NFL game skewing your perspective. If you look at other levels of football, even college, but high school and on down, offensive linemen grab a lot. I'm not saying that all of those should be called holds. I am not. What I'm saying is defensive linemen who grab jersey are called for hold a far higher percentage of the time than offensive linemen who grab jersey. When a defensive lineman does it, offensive guards or tackles often want to complain. Actually, I give 68 credit. He didn't do so. I think it's an indication that Williams, is aware and has great recognition during the play of the concept of what's happening and how he can help the inside linebacker behind him kind of make a play. And in my opinion, that's what it accomplished. You got a good group if you've got Williams, Reeder, and McNeil, right? That's a solid group for 2025, but it's not going to occur until mid-season or whatever in terms of Aleem McNeil's availability. For now, the other guys available: Roy Lopez, Broderick Martin, Keith Cooper. I think I missed one in there. I expect Williams to get a ton of reps and a ton of opportunities, particularly on first and second down. If the pass rush moves don't improve, then he'll probably be replaced and someone else will come in, perhaps a Davenport on the inside, if Hassanin or someone can develop, or Barnes that they trust to be that other outside linebacker slash edge defender into the boundary. In any case, this is my film study look at Tyleik Williams, the first extended look that we had in a preseason game. It was fun to watch and fun to try to produce for you guys. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comment section. I will try to get something done on Tate Ratledge, possibly for Monday morning. If you did enjoy this film study look, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.